Waves of migrants and refugees are being shunted from one border to another as European countries try to shift the burden. In Croatia, scuffles broke out along the country's border between desperate refugees and police.
What we see today is the complete failure of the Croatian state to handle migration issues.
Well, over 15,000 migrants and refugees have crossed into Croatia after Hungary closed its border with Serbia. You can see it all here on the map. Overwhelmed by the influx, the Croatian government has closed 7 of its 8 border crossings now with Serbia. RT's Daniel Hawkins reports on the chaotic situation.
So behind me is a Croatian police car and Croatian police officers. They're not making any attempt to stop all these people walking behind them and this way towards the Croatian border. So we've just been told by them not to take any pictures and not to film. So it does seem this is a very much under the carpet, unofficial way of dealing with these groups of people coming through. Just to confirm, how many people have you seen today crossing?
Today?
Yeah.
4 or 5.
1,000 today, just today.
Yes.
After getting off the buses, the refugees face a walk to the end of this field along a country road where they will meet another aid agency checkpoint and they can stock up on fruit and water for the final push into Croatia just across the border. There's 2 ways to get into Croatia from Serbia. The official way through border checkpoints where passports are checked, and the unofficial way through these fields, which is what these people are doing. They walk about 2 kilometers this way under the searing sun. It must be way over 35 degrees today. This is an illegal route. There's police waiting for them on the other side, and people, journalists, we've heard reports, have already been arrested for making this illegal crossing, but that doesn't put these people off. They're determined to make it to Croatia and then onwards to their final destinations, whatever the conditions and whatever the risks. Do you feel EU governments are doing enough to tackle this problem, because it seems to be completely out of hand at the moment?
What we see now is a piecemeal approach. One country opens the border, another country closes the border. There's a new center to receive them, another center closes, and this is not good enough.
Here in the town of Tovarnik in Croatia, it's a tiny place, only a few thousand residents. It's currently packed with refugees that have crossed from the Croatian border. You can see they're lining this entire road, and they've been put into lines by the local police forces. The problem is that capacity on this transport is extremely limited, and the families here are terrified of being separated. We're hearing men, women and children screaming, "This is my brother, this is my sister, this is my son," out of fear of just being separated and losing contact. So here in this town of Tovarnik in Croatia, it's currently packed with these refugees, many of whom would have crossed the Croatian border illegally, directed by the Croatian police, highlighting the difference between official policy of closing borders and unofficial policy of allowing them to enter illegally.
Well, Budapest has accused Zagreb of human trafficking after an unscheduled train with up to 1,000 refugees arrived in Hungary from Croatia. Local authorities seized the train and arrested the driver. Hundreds of migrants have reportedly boarded Hungarian buses, but it's still unclear where they're heading. Hungary says Croatia has utterly failed to handle this situation.
Yesterday, the whole system of taking in migrants in Croatia completely collapsed. Instead of spending time attacking Hungary, maybe they could have lasted for 2 more days. Croatia's government is now busy taking migrants to the Hungarian border instead of providing them with accommodation and everything else they need. This is why I'm asking, how is this EU solidarity?
Well, Hungary's foreign minister also says Europe is deluded, calling the situation a crisis, while it's a mass migration that will be around for years. He predicts the number of migrants could be around 30 to 35 million people. But even while the number of arrivals is still at hundreds of thousands, politicians have little control of the situation and change their stance on an almost daily basis.
I want to stress that we want to help those who need protection.
Germany is reintroducing temporary border controls along the EU's internal borders.
We are ready to accept and direct those people to where they desire to go: Germany, Scandinavia and several other countries.
Our capacity is absolutely full.
Croatia cannot and will not take this burden anymore. Croatia will not become a migrant hotspot.